Hi, Bryan McWhorter here, Black Belt Lean Thinking, author of The X Factor. And today I want to talk to you about mistakes and regrets. Very important to understand and differentiate between a mistake and a regret. We want lots of mistakes, and the more mistakes we make, it usually leads to less regrets. If you've ever heard of the term a learning organization, what we want to do is take our employees and give them lean tools and the ability to manage their area and to use scientific principle for solving problems. To be able to do this, and if you look at lean tools, take any lean tool from 5S Plus 1, Kanban, Hijunka, any of these, at their heart they're surfacing problems in regard to whatever topic they deal with. Just like TPM surfaces problems dealing with your equipment, 5S surfaces problems in your environment. Again, we want to give employees lean tools and teach them how to use them, but they also need the freedom to be able to use them, the freedom to make mistakes. We need it at work and we need it in our personal life. And this has to be created by management to where you feel safe making mistakes. I've talked about this a little bit before, where let's have our, we'll have our really horrible circle, but you get the idea. This is a circle. And we'll have our comfort zone. So we have our comfort zone. Almost don't have room to write comfort. So we have our comfort zone, and out here we have the learning zone. Forgive my writing. And then out here we have the fear zone. So we'll have a bigger circle out here. Now, most of us in a work environment and we're in life in general hate being told what to do. We'd rather be told about a problem and given the opportunity to help solve that problem ourselves. Employees are used to solving problems at home. They want the opportunity to do the same thing at work. According to the Gallup organization, only less than 35% of employees in the United States are actually engaged in their work environment. You look at engagement as actively caring, actively wanting to make improvements and be involved with problem solving. Okay, for that learning organization, we need to give people lean tools and the ability to make mistakes. We need to give them parameters so they can fail in a safe way. But for them to really stretch from that comfort zone into the learning zone, really, they need to feel safe on three levels. They need to feel safe emotionally. If they make a mistake, they're not going to get chewed out. They got to feel safe work-wise. They're not going to get demoted or fired. And they got to feel safe physically. They're not going to get hurt. So management has to help set up parameters. And one great way to do this is by having a team atmosphere. So that, say, if someone comes up with an idea and they want to drive an improvement in their area, they got to sell it to the team. The team sales pitch becomes somewhat the litmus test for whether or not that's a good idea. So if they can sell the team, then they can give it a try. But we need to give them guidelines and parameters and then let them be able to fail in a safe way. Again, if you don't have self-directed work teams or team-type atmosphere, start looking at categories for work. Let's say we're in a restaurant. For a waiter or waitress that has, say, 5 or 6 tables in a section of the restaurant, tell them they're managing that area. You are a waiter/manager. You need to manage how you take care of our patrons at the restaurant and make sure you're giving them the best service possible. So you give them the opportunity to look for better ways to improve what they do and how they do it. Same for the staff in the kitchen, those cooks. For the people in here, you are a cook/manager for this area. How can you improve what you do? How can you give good service to the waiter or waitress so they can provide good service for the customers? Again, we want to have them using scientific principle, which is basically just creating hypotheses, testing different ways to make improvements, and be able to do it where if it fails, it's in a safe way that the customer doesn't feel. But it's a lot more exciting when you can drive improvement. I've seen this with employees with companies I've worked for, where I actually heard an older employee once tell someone who'd only been working for the company for a month or two that, you know what, right now this job is much better than it was 6 months ago or a year ago because of the improvements we've been able to do. And because we're keeping to go down this road, 6 months from now will be much better than it is today. How exciting is that to be able to drive those improvements? But we need the freedom to make mistakes to drive those improvements. In our personal life and at work, we need to be able to make mistakes. In this comfort zone, learning zone, and the fear zone, is it possible to live without fear? Absolutely. Philosophers from the East, the West, and the Bible have been telling us this since the dawn of man, that yes, we can live in a life without fear. We need to get comfortable with this learning zone to where all this goes away. And we have one zone that we live in life, and that is the learning zone. Everything is about learning. If you look at what a mistake is, it is just a mistake. It is a stepping stone in the process of learning. If you have someone jump you for making a mistake, just tell them, hey, it's part of my process. This is how I learn. Most likely the first time you ever tried to tie your shoes as a child, you failed. And failure is going to continue to be a step in the process for learning. A lot of people will see success or failure like this. You know, it's an or thing. I'm going to try something and it's either going to fail or succeed. What successful people and people who have made a lot of attempts and gotten comfortable in this zone have already learned is that it's more like this. Success is inevitable. Each one of these is a failure. You know, we continue to fail until we hit success. I mentioned before that more mistakes mean less regrets. Regret comes from going against our values and beliefs. What is the best way to test values and beliefs other than going after a worthy goal and making mistakes? When you run into wall after wall after wall, it tests your resolve towards that goal. It tests your values and your beliefs. You know, if you truly value that goal and it lines up with your values and beliefs, you're going to persist and you're going to go towards it. This is called creating character. So we're being put to the test, and it's developing character within us. Adversity does that. Adversity refines us, creates character. It's all part of that hero's journey, so to speak. So we need that. If you are not making any mistakes, it means you're not learning. You're not testing your values and beliefs. You take someone who's not making any mistakes, and they're going to look back and see they really haven't lived their life. They haven't made any mistakes. They haven't done anything. There was no effort. And that's the biggest mistake of all. We need to be comfortable with the learning process. We need to be willing to make mistakes. And again, realize that most of these are not going to be life or death. Again, hope not. Hope the mistake doesn't involve a parachute or anything like that. But we want to learn as part of our growing process. So in the work environment, with lean, or in your private life, again, you need to be clear on your path, your goals, be clear on what you value and what your beliefs are, and then make mistakes, go after it. Take any expert, the top expert in any field of study, and they are usually also the person that made most mistakes in that area. If you want to have a little bit of fun and really build yourself up with the ability to pursue your own goal, go to Google, go to your computer and type in failure to success or failures before success, and look at the long list of people and the adversity that they had to face before their dreams, were fulfilled. So again, if you want a life without regret, you need a life with lots of mistakes. So hopefully this helped you out. Again, I touch on some of this stuff in my book, the Dragon Slaying Manual, and in the X Factor. So for more information along this line, go to Black Belt Lean Thinking or pick up any of those books.